Oh, heavens no.
Have you forgotten your joy?
Of course not. Snug as a bug on a drug.
Well, come on then, finish up.
Just have a few more pages. I know you're very busy.
Then don't take too long to finish.
Welcome to Honest Reviews. I'm Rispetto, and this is the first video of a game review series I plan on doing on my spare time. It's important to know that I'm not a professional game journalist, nor am I even a hardcore elitist type gamer. I'm just a guy that likes to play games and form an opinion on what I see. Take that as you will.
No, leave me alone. I took my joy. No, leave me alone. No.
Today I'm looking at a game that caught my attention from its trailer. From a first look perspective, it looks to be a story-driven game with emphasis on character building. The first 5 minutes of gameplay or so help set the tone of the game, or so I thought.
We seem to be a bit behind in our work now that you mention it.
Have you ever seen a trailer for a movie that looks really amazing, just to find out that every funny or decent scene in the entire movie is actually crammed into the trailer itself? Think Rum Diary with Johnny Depp. The 2-minute trailer makes it seem like a high production value comedy movie, and yet when you leave the trailer, you find yourself wondering how the hell you managed to get conned into paying money to see whatever it is the fuck you just saw. That's this game in a nutshell. First, let's look at gameplay. See, the impression I got from the trailer and subsequently the first few minutes of gameplay was that the rest of the game would play in a similar fashion. I'm really sick and tired of hearing people relate this game to BioShock, because that's only true if you've played the first 5 minutes or so of the game. Immediately after that, it becomes obviously nothing like BioShock or anything like the trailer suggests. We Happy Few is not a story-driven game at all. It's a survival game, set in a procedurally generated world with puzzle-solving aspects. Not an RPG, like a lot of other reviews seem to suggest. Why do I feel like I've been misled? Well, let's start talking about specifics. Combat is a joke in this game. I realize this is an early access title, so things like balancing can easily be changed, but there's some things that can't be fixed with editing damage values. For example, the AI. The fucking hilarious excuse for an AI, that is. I found myself easily defeating enemies just by standing in places they couldn't reach. This goes beyond the level of early access and enters the world of just flat out poorly programmed.
Beat! Dan! You
I'm
go!
calling the authorities!
Do we look? You can't just call it.
Next is the survival system. They really managed to this one up. Considering it's one of the main gameplay focuses, it's actually quite sad to see this system done poorly. You have 4 resources you need to manage while exploring the game. Health, hunger, hydration, and sleep. Sounds pretty simple in concept, but its execution is absolutely horrendous. I found myself dying of hunger faster than I was able to actually find food. Your character becomes dehydrated every 5 minutes or so, and faster if you sprint, forcing you to stop whatever you're doing and run for the nearest water well every couple of minutes. The sleep mechanic is even worse, forcing you to sleep in your bed every 10 minutes or so. Every time you sleep though, it drains almost all of your hunger. Doing basic shit like exploring the map becomes a tedious hassle instead of a fun challenge. I found myself quickly just ignoring the water and food levels, letting myself die instead of actually eating, drinking, or sleeping. Considering there's no penalty for death, I quickly found myself asking what the challenge in this game is really supposed to be. So ask yourself something. In a game entirely focused on survival that fails to implement those features entirely, and where death has absolutely no meaning, what content is left? The story progression, you might ask? Nope. The entire bulk of the game consists of you running around and solving mini quests for random NPCs, when the quests actually decide to work, that is. Oftentimes I've found myself with whatever item I'd need to finish the quest, yet unable to actually do anything with it. An example being when I found a guy standing in sewage throwing up. Every time I tried to hit V to give him a pill, it'd say that I didn't have any, despite the fact that I had some in my inventory. Another example is when I found a guy in a tree that set me on a quest to get his dolls back.
Welcome to the Special Operations Executive. You're the new agent, aren't you? Alfie, what's his name? Great.
Eventually I found where the dolls were, and when I used the tool he gave me to remove the wood planks, I accidentally tore off a plank from the window instead of the door, which used up one of the uses on the Jimmy bar, preventing me from removing the last plank and entering the building. Considering this is literally the only Jimmy bar I found in the entire game, I quickly gave up and moved on. Some could say this is just adding a level of difficulty to the game, as managing your resources is a difficult feat to accomplish, but this is just downright absurd. It's so incredibly unforgiving that it's not even fun. Another problem with gameplay is the absolute lack of directional guidance. A lot of people say they love the freedom this game gives them, as there is absolutely zero hints on what you need to do to accomplish your goal. It's entirely up to you to solve the puzzles yourself. In theory, this is a great idea, kind of like the old Myst games from the late 90s, but this game does it extremely poorly. Oftentimes I found myself stuck in a corner trying to finish a mission with absolutely no idea on where to go or what to do without even a single clue. This in itself wouldn't be all that bad if it weren't for the fact that even the items you find are completely random, leaving you to wander around aimlessly until you luck out and find whatever it is you're looking for.
I wonder if my parents would be proud of me. Or would they be terribly stern?
Alright, enough about gameplay. Let's talk about the audio and visuals. The visuals in this game are fantastic. It has a heavy cel-shaded look and feel to it, which is understandably why some people link this game to BioShock. Everything is well detailed and the day-night cycle feels very dynamic and really brings the game to life, with certain events only taking place in the day or in the night. It was also really interesting to see NPCs walking home to go to sleep every night, then re-emerging in the early hours to wander the streets aimlessly while babbling absolute nonsense to themselves. Now let's look at audio. The audio in We Happy Few is surprisingly good for its caliber of game. The music helps define the atmosphere pretty well. For example, gloomy music in the rundown parts of town set the stage for the general mood of the characters there. Weapon and fist impact sounds were surprisingly good and help immerse yourself in the combat, adding a level of weight to your punches.
Right.
Every character is voice acted, which is always nice to see as it shows high production value, if only the rest of the game supported this
But
idea.
where's Kilroy when you need him, eh?
Toys and tiny beds. Tiny beds in every house.
Come on, we're old friends, aren't we? Know you from the pub, don't I?
All in all, I give this game a 5 out of 10. It has potential to be a unique and fun game, but it's a pretty long ways away from doing that. If you're watching this video because you're on the fence about buying it and want someone's opinion on it, I would not recommend buying this game. Wait until it goes on sale for $10, as it's definitely not worth its $33 price tag. At the very least, wait until it's had plenty of time to iron out the bugs. With some serious work, this could be a modern Myst game, though it's got some things to fix before it gets anywhere near that. And that's it for this episode. Feel free to leave a comment below on a game you'd like to see me review next. As I said before, this is just something I do in my spare time for the fun of it, not something I take seriously. With that being said, I'd love to get a series going. The title Honest Reviews is a work in progress, so let me know if you have a suggestion for that as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next review.
Give it a whack!
Hit it!
You are off your joy. Take one of mine. Oh my lord. He's a downer. Call security. We've got a downer.